My name is Dana Prescott, and I am the manager for technology and innovation at Covenant House Vancouver. We're a shelter for youth age 16 to 24. We provide on-site living accommodations and also drop-in facilities for kids that need to come in and have a shower, get clothes, do their laundry, get a good meal, and some hygiene products. Yeah, it's been challenging, but we're really trying to accommodate and make things work. So we still have lots of youth that live on site. Some have went to live with family or friends during this time, but we do have a lot of youth that are staying on, and we're still taking new youth in as long as they follow our new guidelines. You need to quarantine for 14 days if you're new. We've had to change our setup because the youth are mostly stuck inside, and some of them have lost their jobs, so they have to stay in the facility now. We don't want them going out and coming back in because of obviously germs that can be passing. So we're finding ways to entertain 24/7 on site for the youth. I would say probably our biggest change would be our drop-in center. We no longer can have youth come into the facility and gather, and we used to, they'd have computers and TV and they could lounge and just be in a protected place. Now we are still providing food and hygienic needs and things that we can give them, clothing, but we have to do it outside. So we've got a table set up that youth can come and ask for things, and we will try and provide as best we can. But that facility of a place to come into has had to close. So that was one of our biggest changes. We've had some of our donors increase their donations. We've had some good large donations, which has been wonderful. And I feel like people have really rallied around. So we have a lot of longtime donors that have really rallied around to provide funding, or even like PPE equipment that we would need. So it's actually been okay. There's also been some funding through the city, some different organizations specific to COVID-19 that we've been able to get some extra funding through. So that's helped because our technological needs have went up. Some of our other needs in different departments have went up to be able to provide more for the youth during this time. So it's been working out pretty well. So we've been very fortunate. Yeah, so most of our people worked on site, and we're actually kind of bursting at the seams, trying to figure out how people can work. And we had just introduced about November of last year, Robin desks, so like a hoteling desk system for part of our team that did some work from home. Mostly the management, they would work from home 1 or 2 days a week, and then they'd be in the office. But most of the rest of the clerical staff, admin, was on site every day. And we were getting quite full, even though we had just moved into a brand new building last year, a new 5-story building. We're in the process of building another 10-story building, which will offer us more office space, but it had become quite tight before this all happened. And now all of our admin, like our donations processing, HR, finance, is all working from home. So it showed us that people could really work from home and do it well and still stay connected and productive. And that's just been, I think, eye-opening for managers who maybe have been hesitant about that before, that it is possible, and people can do a great job from home just as much as they can from on site. Definitely do. I'm in charge of our return to work plan. So we've already started brainstorming what happens when we can start bringing people back into the office space. And obviously it's going to be on a very limited capacity for probably, it could be up for a year and a half, where we have this really limited capacity to have staff on site. You may have had 40 staff on one floor, and now we can have 10, or 20 maybe. We've really had to set the expectation with people that this is going to be really a different trend in the way that we're going to work, and it's going to be a different system. Obviously, there's going to have to be a lot of precautions taken on site for cleanliness. Possibly you could do temperature checks. We're doing that with our youth right now. So they get checked to make sure that they're not running a fever or anything. Questioning staff before they come in if they've been sick or around somebody that's been sick. So there's lots of different processes we're mulling over right now on how we can work differently in our space. And I just think that those things are going to be adapted going forward. Because like I said, we were bursting at the seams and trying to figure out how do we grow without a physical space to put somebody in. And now I think we can continue to grow and we can be flexible with the space, and people are set up from home now. So, maybe you work 3 days at home and 2 days in the office, and that allows us to have another employee who can be using the same space. So I think it really is going to change our mindset of how we use space going forward, which is great. It kind of solves a problem we had before. It's forcing us into that solution, but it's a good. Yeah, so we, over the last 5 years, we've been setting up to use a VoIP phone system. We were cloud-based, so we were using SharePoint and OneNote and OneDrive. We also had set up everyone in the last couple of years with Surfaces. So really transitioning to home was quite easy. We had, regular hiccups, but it moved quite smoothly. The one thing that we were missing was using a platform like Teams. We were planning on rolling that out closer to the summer. So I had been starting to work on that, but then we just, put the pedal to the metal and said, okay, we're using it now. So that has been a shift in the way we communicate, because part of being in the office is that people really like that human connection and seeing their neighbor and talking face to face. And we didn't have a platform to do that from home. So now that we're using Teams, that has really shifted our ability to communicate. And I kind of think it saves us going forward on how we address not coming into the office for the next year, or limited amount of people coming into the office, but we can still keep in touch using Teams. So that's been really great. And we're also using Robin Desks, and I think we're going to use that in the future to possibly block off seats so that there's only maybe 10 seats available on a certain floor, and you book them and it's first come, first serve. So that, I think we'll be able to use that a bit differently from how we planned to use it originally before this all happened. So adjusting those technologies and taking advantage of things that we were about to implement in new ways has been really great. And people have been very adaptive. So, usually it could have been a bit of a struggle to get people to adapt to new technology, but I think people understand the need to get on board really quickly, and they see the benefit in it really quickly as well. Yeah, so we have on the communications front, to getting information out to our donors, like we've utilized email communication and also email drives. We kind of used those before as well, but we're using our social media platforms more. So, Facebook page and other things that we've originally used, but using them in a new way. Our website we're also using to communicate what our needs are and what's happening now with Covenant House as we go through this. We've been able to get some good radio spots because the radios and TV networks are doing more highlighting of charities. So that's been really great. Our CEO has now started to video record herself doing messages to the staff to encourage, which has been really great. And that's new to her, having to film herself. And we've been able to utilize Teams to do that, and YouTube to upload it and send it out to everybody. So we've had to adjust in some ways to, instead of being able to do an in-person meeting, how can we still get that relational communication across? So doing that video is helpful, and using Teams to have more meetings, showing our faces to be able to communicate has been a great advantage. It's been really interesting to see some of these different services that we use changing how they're being used, and we can latch on to some of that change for our benefit. So there's been some opportunities that come out of it. Also, some companies are offering some good discounts right now because they need to drum up business. So I think as a charitable organization, it's nice that we can take advantage of some of those things and maybe try something new that maybe would have been a bit more pricey before, or they're a bit more flexible in doing a trial. So that's been something that we can kind of take to our advantage, which has been good. No, but well, I guess I think that it's been great that I've seen so many organizations, technical companies, and like different places reaching out and wanting to collaborate together. So you doing this and talking to different people, you guys are getting more ideas, and I'm like Robin reaching out and doing all these webinars. I think it's been just really fascinating to see this community that can be very siloed working together and sharing ideas and figuring out how we can use technology moving forward, because everything's been flipped on its head, and I think everyone's just trying to get their heads wrapped around it. So it's really nice to see businesses talking and working together more. That's been really great.
Well, thanks so much, Dan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, Brad. Nice talking to you. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you as well. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.